Jeff Bezos has acknowledged his plans for the future. In the future, in Jeff Bezos' mind, we aren't going to have personal computers. We're just going to use everything through the cloud, bro. We're just going to use everything through the Amazon owned and controlled cloud. It's the future, man. You're not going to want to have a PC in the future, but even if you did, we're going to ban it anyway. So, this has the same kind of energy to it that, Bill Gates saying that, we needed a plague in, 2015 did. They're going to orchestrate it and make it happen, okay? And then they're going to scrub it afterwards. So, it's very clear at this point that the personal computer is a threat to these billionaires. They don't like you interacting with other people. They don't like you, sharing ideas and rallying and organizing and expressing pretty basic, observations about the job market, about education, about anything. They want to strong arm you into going into their heavily regulated, heavily controlled ecosystem through the cloud, essentially. They want to eliminate the personal computer. And what's interesting about this is that they're going to try and push it. They're going to try and make it a thing. And I really have to wonder, how far this is going to go and, what this is going to result in. Because, from where I'm sitting, the cloud has already been kind of rejected by, pretty much everyone who's, a tech enthusiast. People who use cloud products, aren't the people that were, really into PC in general. People who use cloud for things, it just comes off this isn't it, bro. I would rather just have a better PC. Is kind of my mindset when looking at this. I'm in an area where I can technically play video games on Amazon Luna, and yet I would never do so. It has nothing to do with the capability or how viable it is or the cost. I just don't want to do it. I would rather support an actual established console brand that has nothing wrong with it. And that's kind of my mentality looking at this. Is that what exactly is Jeff Bezos' plan for eliminating the PC? It's all about control. It's all about exploiting people. It's all about doing all this. But what's interesting about this is that this is going to be what the end of the gaming PC looks like, essentially. Whatever thought you have in regards to the PC market and the industry, the costs are going up, things are getting more expensive. I do think it's safe to say that for general use, for casual internet browsing, for general culture, PCs are no longer necessary for that. For basic apps, you have watches, you have phones, you have tablets. A PC is completely obsolete for a lot of things that most people use, okay? You don't need to shell out, thousands of dollars for a PC when you can get, a tablet that just does the same thing but better, right? That's the interesting thing about this, is that, this very well may be the next major technological innovation that moves people away from the PC gaming ecosystem. Right? Because if you think about it, it makes absolutely no sense to keep investing in expensive PC hardware when you can just get less expensive PC hardware, when you can get the bare minimum and just kind of use everything you want to use through the cloud instead. You can already play games through the cloud, you can already watch videos, you're already Netflixing through the cloud. Why exactly? What value do you get out of owning a PC when the cloud can do the exact same thing with none of the cost? And this is the very interesting thing about this, is that I don't see the cloud, really ruining traditional console gaming, traditional Nintendo gaming. It's not going to affect Nintendo at all. But what it is going to affect is the PC ecosystem. What it's going to affect is the PC master race. What it's going to affect is like this general culture of like piracy and criminality. With a more locked down cloud ecosystem, with Jeff Bezos like overseeing everything, like you are going to be seeing a lot of people start to understand that PC gaming is not the future. PC gaming is not relevant. PC gaming is not going to be competitive with the cloud. That's the reality you're going to start seeing, and I think that's going to be how it starts. Is that like kids are not going to be buying PCs and downloading the Epic Game Store for Fortnite, They are just going to be streaming it through, like, Amazon Luna or whatever and not even bothering to own a console. Not even bothering to own a PC. Like, that is going to be the reality, I think, when it comes to, like, the next wave of, like, competition in the gaming sphere is, like, cloud gaming versus traditional, like, hardware-based gaming. And eventually, cloud gaming may become viable. It may not. There's all sorts of reasons why I don't think it's gonna be a thing in the next for at least the next couple of decades. But at the end of the day, like the reality is, PlayStation and Xbox have failed. They're not relevant anymore. They're not producing games. Games like the Scarlet Code are never going to be major hits on PC, right? Games like The Last of Us Part 2 aren't really worth investing in an expensive PC for. Like, why not just acknowledge that long term, that PC is going to be completely locked down, that everything's going to be forced into the cloud, and that the PC gaming industry as a concept is completely untenable. If Jeff Bezos, who is way richer and way more successful than Gabe Newell, by the way, if he's coming out and saying this, that we're going to stop people from having personal computers, like, Steam isn't going to be able to do shit, like, Gabe is going to die, and the company is just going to, like, just completely implode, because they are not going to be able to react to the market changes, That is what we're going to see going forward, is that the PC market is just, not even just PC gaming, but the PC market as a whole is going to completely collapse, that nobody's going to be owning PCs, that everyone's going to be playing exclusively on console and the cloud, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's Jeff Bezos' plan for the future. He wants to kill the gaming PC, and honestly, like, I have to say that's pretty based. I have to say that Jeff Bezos has my full support. Jeff Bezos, he's the man, richest guy in the world, like, he is doing the right thing. We have to put a stop to PC. We have to put a stop to this nonsense. We have to support superior Apple products. We have to support superior cloud products. This is the future. PC gaming is stuck in the past.